Man, it is another beautiful day over here at the shop. It was really nice to get some work done on the old pink Acura Integra over there, Project Pepto. I can't wait to get into it, find out what's going on, and get it running, but that's not what I'm going to be doing today. So what I am going to be doing is I got to work on the 240SX. I got to finish sanding it, finish doing body work. I got to do the primer, eventually do base coat and clear coat, because I need to get that car taken care of, and I need to get that car out of there before I can start working on the Integra. And also, man, old Betty White started giving me some problems. I think the starter went out on her, so maybe at some point I'll fix that in this video as well.
And now, you're watching the 240SX all-one color miracle of YouTube. Welcome to BodeVision.
So what is up, you guys, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on another video. Man, I got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff that I need to get done. So my game plan is, my plan of attack, man, I just turned off the lights, turned on the lights already. So my game plan and plan of attack is I just gotta keep sanding any body work that I gotta do. I gotta get it handled, then I gotta mask off the entire interior, because we don't want any paint or any overspray getting on the interior that I just freshly painted when I'm doing the exterior, because that only makes sense, right? Man, so with the 240, we've really got to make sure I do not get any overspray whatsoever on the interior. And I want to paint this back area because, come on, it's a 240. The bumper's going to get ripped off. So you're going to see all this. So I want that to look good, even though there's going to be tail lights and then that other little center bar and also the back bumper. But what that means is I got to get in here real good, tape everything off. And I could have put tape on the inside, but that wasn't really working out with all the curves. So I just put it on the outside, and I think that's going to be all right. But man, oh, taping is kind of tedious. So now it's coming to the end. So now it's coming to the end of the day, it's getting late, and this stuff is just real tedious, man. I want to upload more often, but it's kind of hard when I'm doing stuff that's, you know, it's taking 2 or 3 days to just mask off a car. And what am I going to do? Put up a video of me just masking off the car, and then the next day just priming it, and then the next day sanding that primer. It really is a long process, but once I start working on the old Integra, the Project Pepto Integra, then I feel like I'm going to be able to update more often, and the way for me to start working on the Integra is for me to finish up the 240. So right now it's the next day. Now that I've made some pretty good progress on the old 240, I'm about ready to prime it. I just got to finish masking off the doors, and then we'll be good to go. So I want to kind of turn my attention and work on Betty White for a little while. Like I said, I think the starter gave up on me. So right over here, I got a brand new starter. And what I like to do whenever I'm kind of like swapping out any parts is I like to look at the new part, so that way I can get an idea of where the holes are at on the old part. So that way I don't have to kind of look around and mess around. And I'll show you what I mean on this. So here's the new starter. And I know the old one's sitting in there kind of oriented this way, I believe. So I know I'm gonna have a bolt right here that I gotta take out, and one somewhere in that general area. And then it's only 2, I believe, but either way, they're in those 2 areas, one right here and one over there, and that's all I gotta take out. So they're probably 12s or 14s. I guess I'll see when I get into it. So taking off the starter, it was kind of a pain, but that's how they always are. Just if you get lucky, some are real easy. This one was kind of down amongst all this other, you know, hoses and junk down there. And the way that I found it's easiest is, rather than working with something in the way, if you can just take out that something that's in the way. For example, this little cold air intake tube I just took out, and then also this goes, I don't know, down from the header, and it circulates into the intake somehow. So here's the old starter, and man, I hope this was the issue. You can see really old, really nasty stuff. Who knows how old that is? And like I said, that's kind of nice to see that it's really old, because if there was a new one in there, I know that my issue wasn't the starter, which hopefully it's the starter. So here's the old one, and here's the new one sitting the same exact way. You can see that it's the same part number, 201, 201. This is just a refurbished one anyway, so that's why it's the exact same. So hopefully that's all it needs. So now got to get this thing thrown in there, and then hopefully we can fire up Betty White and take her off life support. All right, man, come on, Betty, don't die on me now. Let's see what you got. Come on, girl. Hell yeah. First click for Betty White, man. She still got it. There you go, man. It is pretty awesome to just, I didn't know exactly what was going on with the car. It was just not starting, and then I thought, okay, if the starter's really old and I replace it and then it's not the starter, well, at least it got a nice new starter. So that's it for Betty White, man. And now it's about 5 hours later. I got everything ready to go and ready to prime. I got my doors sitting here. When it comes time for the final base coat and clear coat, I'm actually gonna hang up the doors. I like to hang them because less of a chance of any kind of dust specks landing on them if they're hanging vertically rather than sitting on the table. And the rest of the car, man, it was really challenging because all these holes and everything, like, I gotta be careful for stuff like that, because any hole, there's gonna get overspray on the interior that I just painted in. I'm sure there's a couple I missed, but I put blankets all over the floor just to make sure nothing gets through. I really hope it's fine, and I feel like I did everything that I could do, and I don't know what else I would do, because I could have done the interior and the exterior at the same time, but then I would have been having to reach over wet paint as I'm doing other paint. I don't know. I think that would have got real messy, but either way, let's get this primer mixed up and lay it down. Alright, so I wanted to show you this clip really quickly. I mean, I still gotta clean out my gun. Usually I clean up all my stuff before I pick up the camera and talk. But notice how this side is kind of wet still, so you can see reflection in it. So it's a really good gauge as you're priming. It's a really good gauge as you're priming to notice the wet panels, because then you can see the reflection, and that's going to give you a good idea of how the clear coat's going to look on those panels after the fact. Now if you still did see some dents as you primed it, that's no big deal because you can body work it and then prime it again. You just really want to make sure you don't see any dents at all in your final clear coat, or else you're going to have to redo it or deal with a bunch of dents in the panel, and that's definitely not good. Man. You see that little bug that landed in the primer? But that's no big deal. I notice around here when it's later, a lot more bugs come out, and usually I don't do base coat and clear coat this late, but I really wanted to make sure I can get the primer done so that way it dries overnight, and then in the morning I can come in and sand it down. And one thing that I wanted to point out, I really wanted to take these off, but man, those bolts, they get so old, and then they're just Phillips heads, and they're so hard to get out, and I tried to get them out, but I felt like it was gonna strip, so I thought rather than stripping the bolt, I'm just gonna leave them and tape them off, and they'll look just fine. So that's gonna be it for this one, you guys. And man, dude, it got dark out quick. But look at this Integra, man. It's so nice. I mean, just the body alone was worth buying it. You know, it is so straight, so solid, and you can really see the blue pearl on top of the pink in here. There you go. Man, pretty crazy. And now coming up in the next video, I'm probably ready to do base coat and clear coat on the 240 SX, but I know a front's rolling through tonight and it's gonna be real cold. If it's real cold, my base coat's not gonna act right, the clear coat's not gonna act right. So I'm probably not gonna be painting it in the next video, but I just might be. We'll have to see. Or I'll work on the Integra a little bit more. We'll just have to see what happens. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. You know what it is, YouTube. I'm out.